Welcome back to Blue and Red Meeple Board Games. My name is Jenny, and today I thought we would start out 2024 with a tour of my game room and the board game collection. I know it's been a little while since I did a video, so I thought we'd start with something a little bit different. So we'll start down here in the end. This is my least favorite shelf. It's big Kickstarter games that come with a lot of minis, so they come with a ton of boxes and you can't combine them. And so I've got all these gaps. And so I'm not a huge fan of this shelf, but it's the way it is. Hopefully, I know we have some like more of Tainted Grail coming in, so maybe that'll fill in some spaces. We've got Return to Dark Tower, Hellboy, Oathsworn. So anyway, and then on the top, we have the old Scrabble board. We've got a Yahtzee in the old police box there. You'll notice around the house I have photos of board games. I try to take a picture anytime I play a game. So that is that. Now we'll move over here. We've got just some more pictures. Nice little meeple pillow. So we'll start over here on the top. Usually games on the top, they're there for a reason, either because they're kind of an odd shape or they don't fit in the cube. So like you can see Blockus, that one, you can tell we've had that game for a long time. It's kind of destroyed. The box is really broken up. That's one of those original games we got back when our kids were really little, before we were into like having a nice looking collection, you know. I had no idea that was a thing, and so it's that box is beat up. Then the other games, they're just games that don't fit, you know, because they're in a bag or because of the pizza shape. They just don't fit very well on a shelf. So there they are on the top. If you're wondering, the one with the little rodent here, that is Squirrel or Die. I think this is like the original version. I think now it comes like in a tube. Anyway, it's a fun little 4-player game. All right, so here, these are my Fowers games. If you are familiar with Fowers, then you know that they are really good games. They have great components. The artwork is fantastic, so I wanted to have those all together. The one on the end here, that's Sabotage. I have to have it on its side. That's actually the top. But that's the only place on the side where you can actually see the name. So that's why I have it like that. We've got Burgle Brothers 1 and 2. You can see the name too, but this is another game. That's one thing, pet peeve I have about games, is when they have the name only got like on the front or longer side. So if you have it in a certain position, you can't see what the name is. But anyway, those are my Fowers games. They're great. Hardback. I know you can't see the name here, but I've got, you know, how they all kind of look like books in this section. This is just a play mat that goes with my paperback adventures here, solo only. And then below that, you can see we have kind of our Viking cube, little mishmash of stuff here. These are a little bit more classic games in there. And then we got our Arkham, and then another little mishmash. The basket down here, that has pretty much just all like trivia, different trivia games, trivia cards. We use those a lot when we're sitting out like by the fire pit, or maybe while we've got something going on the grill, we're sitting around waiting. We'll just ask trivia questions. Baskets here, I've just got some components, like the basket. We use this for the eggs for Wingspan. We've got just card holders, dice bags, extra dice. Oops, we'll fix that later. Regular plain old decks of cards, things like that. All right, so if we go back up to this one, here I've got all of my Oniverse games. I do have the full collection in their order. These are the newest ones. I haven't played either. This one I got for Christmas, so I'm hoping to get to those soon. And then Urbion, the first one, is just in this small box, so I can't really display it like these. So for now, I just have it sitting like this. I don't know, there's not really much else I can do. And then the little Meeple dice I got in my Christmas stocking this year. So that's kind of cool. The Meeples are ones. So this section here is where I have kind of the smaller games, and then you'll see in the middle the card games. So you can see, here are the shelves here. And then we go, we got some little bigger ones on the bottom. Gloomhaven. We haven't played that yet. We were hoping to get to that this winter. We've had that for I don't know how many years, a lot of years. Haven't played it yet. You can see there's a gap there between Warp's Edge and Scan. That's a game that I'm actually currently playing. It's on a table. I'll show that in just a little bit. All right. And Scan, that is a game I grew up with that. That's like from the 60s, 70s. Basically, kind of a speed game trying to match, get a matching part of your card. I have great memories of that. We have a lot of two-player games. I have all of the canvas, and these I have sideways too. I know they have such nice artwork, but this is the only way that you can see the name, so I have them on their side. And we've got our West Kingdom, some bigger games down here. And then we're getting over into our card games. And then this nice section, Devere games. Those are great games also with really nice components. Everyone says the same thing. There's so much packed into those little boxes. And I do like how they're all the same size, so they look really nice together on the shelf. And then Baron Park here. This is one of the few where I actually have an expansion box next to it. Most of the games, when I can, I have the expansions included in the boxes. But in this case, it doesn't work. Like if we go back over here, Dice Forge is one where I have the expansion box behind it on the shelf. Wingspan is another one. I have the expansion box. I think most of the expansions in the box, but that's one where there's just too many cards, so I couldn't fit them all. So these are smaller games, a lot of two-player games. This section, kind of party games, but again, I really like how they're all the same size, so it just looks so nice on that shelf. Then here next to Quicks Deluxe, I actually have another game in there as well. And then I printed out bigger game pieces, which I have shown you before, and they're there. Here's more of our card games. And like games like this with this small size, those are ones that I used to use to kind of fill in gaps, but I'm trying to get away from that. I just think it looks nicer having them all in one section. So these are the little smaller games. And if you're wondering about these little tags here, the colors don't mean anything, but you can see how a couple of them have numbers on them. So I've just labeled the games that have higher player counts, so 6, 7, and 8. A lot of times when we have a game day, people may, we split off into groups and are playing different games, but then at some point we're finished. We may all want to just kind of play one game together, or a big group of us will play something, quick before we start another game. And so that's why I just labeled that to make it easier to pick out games of those sizes. So up here on the top again, the Siege of Runedar. It's another one of those games. It's just too big to fit on the shelf. It's a really fun game. It's one where the box is the board, which is why it's so big. But you just can't fit it. So that's why I have it down here. A couple other little games that are just kind of a little odd shaped. And for now, I don't have a place for them. So there they are. So here is one of our game tables. This one seats 8. And here I am just getting ready to start chapter 3 of Recklin Run. This is the one that goes over next to Scan and Warp's Edge. We have 3 board game tables. They're all really nice. They fold down, so you don't have to have them up. We usually have a smaller one here, so it doesn't take up so much space. But we do have one that seats 6 that normally goes, this is our bar table. But we normally have one 6 that fits 10. It's more oval shape. So that goes there. I remove that table and it goes there. And then I have another one. So then we got the 10, the 8, and then we have one that seats 4 that I'll usually have sort of down on that end by the fireplace, or maybe in the middle here. And then we have, of course, a large dining table upstairs, and then a bunch of foldable card tables, those white Costco tables with chairs that we can also pull out if we need to. We need more space. All right, so let's go up here. We'll start with the top of the shelf, and then we'll actually get to the shelves. So I just have a lot of decorations, and again, these are all just pictures of games. Cool little bishop in his shades. I took a lot of my parents' old board games and I took the components just as decoration and put them in containers. That's what that is there. I've got our blue and red meeple along with a green one. These Tales and Games, I just think look really nice on a shelf, but they also are good games. I haven't played them all. These are games where I wanted to have them all just because they look really cool. The first one we got was Hare and the Tortoise, number 3. And I'd probably say, even though I haven't played them all, I would say that's probably my favorite one. It's a really fun racing game. You can see they're all 2 to 5. I think there's one that's 2 to 4, and Red Riding Hood is the only one that you can play solo. I wish you could play more of them solo, but definitely I would say Tales and Games number 3, Hare and the Tortoise is probably the best. Another fun one is the Three Little Pigs. Clearly, you're going to be building houses and trying to avoid the big bad wolf. We've got our meeples here. Those I just ordered online. I don't remember where. I've had them for a long time. And then I just went to the meeple source and ordered, the little random little meeples and glued them. And then I've got them on both sides. So yeah, that one came off. So you can always, change it up whenever you feel like it. Mancala Classic. That's another one because of the size. It just doesn't fit on a shelf. And I think it looks kind of nice on display. And that's a game too. I've been playing that since we had that in the treehouse in the dome in my elementary school. So as a treat, we could earn time in the dome playing in the treehouse, and it was full of different games and things to do. And that was probably the game that I chose most of the time, Mancala. And then we've got Globetrotting. This is a really fun 1 to 4 player game. I kickstarted it. I don't even remember. I think it came maybe summer 2023. It might have come in the spring. But anyway, so I've had it for, quite a while. Putting those globes together was such a pain. I almost gave up after the first one. It was horrible. You have to put in the paper, and then, they come in 2 halves and you have to get them to stick together. So that's why I have 2 of them out. When they're disassembled, they all fit into the nice little display game box. But together, only 2 of them fit in there. And there's no way I'm ever taking them apart because they were so hard to get together. And you can see this is one of those boxes. I could fit it into a cube, but it's so cool. It's supposed to look like your little bag. So that's one that's going to be a display. And then we've got Fortune and Glory, which of course is such a humongous box. That's going to always be a display. And then, let's see, we got more board games we've played. The Rise of the Necromancers board, that was a game we kickstarted, and we got the playmat, which is why I have the board up there as a display. And then I think this is really cool. So this Chinese checkers board was one that my parents had. I played it as a kid. And if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, they actually had that exact board hanging in Marshall and Lily's apartment. So it's kind of cool. All right, so now let's go onto the shelf. Let me get around the table. We recently got another shelf, so we had a few, not more than a few, empty cubes. We're waiting for games that are going to be coming. So I decided I would display a few games just to fill in those gaps so I don't have empty spaces. So here we go. We'll go down. So, we had that other game, Three Little Pigs, Grim Force. That's we've had that for a long time too. Probably got that when our kids were in elementary school. Our kids are now in their early 20s. So to give you a reference, but that's another one where you're building the Three Little Pigs houses, and you have to deal with the wolves and other things. It's a fun family game. Captain Sonar, that's one I think so many people have it, but haven't played it because it's one where you need 8 players. You don't have to have 8. You can, have some people double up, but I think ideally we'd want 8. So that's one I'm really hoping. I don't know. We're excited to play it. It gets a lot of boos, but I grew up playing Battleship, so I'm real-time Battleship. Just sounds awesome, and I think it'll be really fun once we do get to play it. So these are some of our games here, and I have my games vertical. I really have them the way that I think they fit well. I don't like having a lot of gaps. I know a lot of people, there's always that debate, what's better, vertical or horizontal. Obviously it's personal preference. I just think pulling out a game, it's so much easier this way. You can slide it out and slide it back in. If you say I had them stacked, the other way, and I want the bottom game, I just think that's going to be kind of a pain, but whatever works. These are my Artepia cubes. Unfortunately, I couldn't just have it Artepia. I had to, because of just the box sizes, I had to have like photosynthesis and some other games in there, but Artepia games are great. I love them. Every one of them is a great game. They've got good components. They're a lot of fun. I think in all of them you can play solo, which is always a plus. But like Fields of Green, I played that solo multi. Thief's Fortune solo multi. Kitchen Rush is always going to be one of my favorite games, even though we haven't even played it that many times. I absolutely love it. It's so interactive. I think that's part of the draw of board games. I mean, it's bringing people together. You're creating memories, having such a great time in that game because it's real time. You're working together in a restaurant, to get from taking orders to delivering them, completing them on time. And so it's the most interactive game I think that we have, and I love it. It's so much fun. But all of our Artepia games are fabulous. This is just a small section of them, but they're really good games. Here's our Firefly cube. And like I was saying before, how I like to have all my expansions, if I can, in the boxes. I think we have pretty much all of the expansions. I think we do. And I've managed to fit them all into those. We do have, I think it's called the big box, maybe we ordered. So we'll be able to put everything all into one box. I hope it's not. I am afraid it's going to be bigger than that, so I'll have to figure out how that's going to work. But anyway, and that's like, I think the original Hive. It's a two-player game. The components are wood, and unfortunately, all of the newer version, it's plastic, and they've come up with expansion bugs, but they're bigger than this, and they're plastic, so I don't know that I can even get into the expansion bugs, but that's okay. Some kind of randos down here. So we go up to the top section, and then we come down. This is the Star Wars section, and then I guess we got more of kind of the superhero theme down here. I love deck builders, and Thunderstone Quest is a great deck builder. Actually, all of these down here in the bottom. Doom is not a deck builder, but majority of those down there are. And over here, it's too bad that Zolkin wouldn't fit on this shelf with these, but it just doesn't fit. So we got our Sentry. Sorry about the sun, but it's nice that it's sunny today. And then one other spot, Ex Libris. That's a great game. 1 to 4. I've played it so much. I played a ton of solo, and I actually just recently got the expansion, which I haven't played yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Or Scythe. Now this is one of those. This is Charterstone. I don't know if I should keep it on the shelf or not. It's we've played through the campaign, and you can play it once you've played it through, but I just don't know that it would be that much fun. There is a recharge pack, so, and a blank board, so we could do it all over again. It's just one of those, I don't know if we will. So for now I'm going to keep it on the shelf, but I don't know how long it'll stay there. All right, let's go down here. So After Us is a game I got for Christmas, and I thought the theme, it had to be by Planet of the Apes. If you're a fan of the original Planet of the Apes, as I am, I would recommend that game. It's a lot of fun. It's really thematic. I mean, it does feel like the movies. It's really good, and you can play 1 to 4. And I have played it solo and multiplayer, and it's good at every player count. I'm gonna go over here to try to block the sun. There we go. That's better. And Discover Lands Unknown. That came out a long time ago too. That's a Fantasy Flight. I don't know if you remember. If I stand up, I'll block the sun. It's one where every box is supposed to be unique, and you didn't know what you were going to get. So there's all different landscapes. I believe I have the desert, and unfortunately, pretty much everyone I know that got it got the desert. But I actually really enjoy the game. I probably didn't. I had it for a long time, and I probably didn't play it until maybe 2 years ago. I I've played through quite a few of the scenarios, and it's really good solo. I have to say, I liked it. Um, got some kind of randos, of course, the Catan. Corkle's one we've had forever. That's when I got when our kids were in lower elementary school, and we've actually never played at keeping score. It wasn't until years later I was like, "Oh, you keep score." We always just played, when the first person to get rid of all of their tiles was the winner. Oh, and going back to when our kids were little, Word Sweep. That's a game I will never get rid of either, just because of nostalgia. But oh, it's a basically you get different cards and you're trying to pick what word is between in the dictionary. It'll give you some words, and you have to try to guess what the word is between the two. It's a lot of fun. All right, and then here we've got our Century Spice. And I know everyone's raving about all the newer versions of Great Western Trail, but honestly, this one is so good that I don't feel we have so many games. I don't feel the need to get any more. And I'm sorry about the sun here. Let's try to get lower. And we've got our Energy Empire. Tiffin is one you don't hear much about. That's actually a really good game. If you know what a Tiffin is, the game is based in India, and basically you're trying to be the person who can deliver the most lunches to people the quickest. It's fun. And then, of course, Res Arcana. Great. That's a really fun game. Down here. These are games we've had probably for a really long time. You can see Tripoli is one of those back before it was like important to keep your boxes looking nice. So that's that. And then recently, I just got this to keep my wallet games in. I had them in just kind of a tub, but then you couldn't see them. So I got this. It's actually for hanging and displaying sunglasses. So this way, you can see all of them. So it holds 20, and there also it's reversible, so there are slots for 20 more on the other side. So if I fill the other side up, I can always, flip it over, change it up. Anyway, those are my wallet games. And then here I've got more pieces. And then we've got these are they're not all, but mainly Oink games. And I just thought, oh, this is a nice way to display them. I've tried different things, but these are the boxes I was talking about. They only have the title on the front. It's nowhere else. And I found these nice little plastic, I think they're for photos, holding photos. On Amazon, I think they came in 20. And I thought, oh, that would work really well. So I've got, a few non-Oink, but for the most part, these are all my Oink games. So they just are on display here in the window above the table. And then over here, we've got our Orchard Grove and For Northwood. Awesome, awesome, awesome solo trick-taking game. I've talked about Orchard and Grove before. Those are games that I always bring with me on an airplane. They're so nice and handy. And then we've got just component holders, dice trays. And then this is the bar table that goes away on game day. We always have our snack basket there. And then this is just, you can see this is our game room tiki bar. So it's nice. It has a full refrigerator, so we can keep snacks and all of the beverages down here for game day. And then one of our friends who knows us well gave us this as a gift. So anyway, that is our little tiki bar. Game room tiki bar. But now back to the games. All right, so this is just a basket with all of our play mats. I need to get a few more tubes. It's in my Amazon cart. Recklin Run. I'm hoping to get to chapter 3 today. This is the original Pac-Man board and the pieces. This was like my favorite game as a kid. It was like the best Christmas present ever. You don't always get what you want. That Christmas I did. And you actually took the little Pac-Man, you had marbles, you'd go up and down, chomp them, and then they'd fill up, and then you'd dump it into your bin. The power pellets were yellow, and then the little ghosties. I lost one of the ghosts. I only have one left, and he lost his eyes. And then so you'd roll 2 dice. One die would move your Pac-Man, one would move the ghosts. So you'd try to move them towards someone else, away from yourself. And we got our little cribbage boards, just some dice. The decorations. These or bingo. These are like really old. My mom had these probably when she grew up. Old. And then this is actually a game. It was a game the Vikings played. I think it's really cool. These are the dice. So they're 4-sided dice with the Roman numerals carved on them. And these little guys actually move. It's a 2-player game, and there's specific movements that you can move. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so this shelf doesn't have a ton of games because we got rearranged after we bought the new one. So all of the cubes just with single are waiting for new games to arrive. But I kind of like, first they were empty, and I didn't like that. So I'm happy with having the games like this. So this is my Friedman Freeze section here, and I've got a couple down in that shelf, unfortunately, but you can always tell his because they're green, but unfortunately they didn't all fit together. Barnacle Bay, these two are both games that we kickstarted. Great games. Barnacle Bay is a dungeon crawler, and that one actually has a box, of course, because it came with minis, so behind it. My purplish cube here. We actually just played Buffy at our last board game day. That was fun. I hadn't played that in a long time. And then here's my Necromancers. That goes with that board that was up. If you like Tetris, this is the game for you. It definitely makes you feel like you're playing Tetris, and you get to like add meeples and stuff, so it's pretty cool. I love it. And then down here we have all our Days of Wonder games. I used to have them all together in a cube, but for now they are just on display. So anyway, and then a few other, I always find little things to add to make it more board gamey. So anyway, that is pretty much the room and the collection. I love just sitting in here, and we recently just extended this so it goes all the way over here. And so now I used to kind of just crane my neck, just looking over there. Now I can just look right in front of me. And just quickly before we go, I will show you one more sort of board game related thing. This is my board game bathroom. So on game day, everyone gets to come in here. And you can see we've got our meeple shower curtain. And then just a few little board game signs up on the walls. So anyway, that is it for the board game room. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I will be doing another video soon where I am going to show you how to play a game, and I'll get back into a regular schedule, trying to do once a week or at least every other week. So until next time, I look forward to talking to you and play more games. Goodbye.